Studio audience today, so I don't know what to do. We're live? Oh, okay. Oh my lord, welcome to the Dave carried that so well. Welcome to the
you know what we need to get? We need to get that guy that can clap like really, really fast. Have you seen that thing? The video?
No, what guy is this? No.
I don't know. This is this guy. He could
Fast
like
clapping guy?
Yeah, fast clapping. Like he does this weird thing with his hands. We need that. That will be the studio audience.
World's fastest clapper?
Yeah.
802 claps in 1 minute? But there's another
we
guy.
need that
Dude,
guy.
Okay, well, we should get that guy. What show is this? Hi, welcome to the Crafty Boys. We're gonna drink beer now. Okay, good. That's really. How else do you describe the show? I'm gonna start tonight just because I happen to have this in my hand. Tonight is a donated beer from a viewer called the Pollinator Pilsner from Persephone Brewing. They happen to be visiting Persephone Brewing and thought of me and brought it by. So this is a beer that's apparently, from what I understand, is going to save the planet. So there you go.
So
let me put on the old
Gibson's,
specs
right?
here. Gibson's, BC. Clearly sustainable ingredients for a clear, sustainable beer. Crisp and refreshing with aromas of green tea, juicy pear, and a subtle floral note from local honey. Learn more about this beer by clicking on your blah, 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 blah QR code. Brewed with traceable malted barley, so you know it's grown sustainably. The little certified organic logo on the top there certified corporation means the beer is sustainably made sustainably and is inspiring others to do the same. No-till farming keeps our soil and planet healthy. The biodiversity of our fields means bees can work less to pollinate more. So there you go. It acknowledges also Persephone Brewing acknowledges that it farts. It farts? No, it farms. There was a drop of water on the end of the word, and I thought it said farts. It farms, brews, and builds community. I am not going to pronounce that at all. On the territory of the Squamish Nation. There we go. Anyway, so this beer is apparently all that in a bag of chips. It is 5% alcohol by volume. And I am going to now open this beer, and hopefully this beer will wow me. So here we go. I'm pouring it out. There we are. Check that out, babies and boaties. That is a Pilsner, if I ever saw one. Of course, it's beaming out on my camera, but that's okay. But overall, doesn't smell like much yet. Usually we'll get a little more aromatic experience here. Take that. It smells like Pilsner. It tastes like Pilsner with a mild hint of honey. Okay. Hey, rock and roll. I'm happy about that one. The Peanut Gallery. And, okay, Alan, moving on to you. What are you drinking tonight?
All right, so I'm drinking something from Phillips Brewing in Victoria tonight. It is their citrus lager, which is a benefit brew to benefit the Mountain Road Forest, which, what does it say here? In its lifetime, one tree alone could potentially remove 1,300 pounds of CO2 from the air. Imagine what 49 acres of untouched forest can do. All proceeds from this BC benefit brew go towards the Mountain Road Forest mission of protecting an ecological treasure on Vancouver Island for generations to come. This citrus forward lager tastes great while helping our planet breathe a little easier. And it includes a web address for the organization, mountainroadforest.ca. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It comes in at 4.8%. This is it here. Very clear, effervescent, looks like a lager.
Very clear. Wow.
Yeah, really clear. I mean, crystal. Smells light, refreshing. It smells like a lager. There are notes of citrus inside of it, but other than that, maybe it's sort of like a lime kind of flavor, but it's very subtle. Otherwise, it just tastes like a run-of-the-mill lager, but like not like a mass-produced lager from like a big multinational or anything like that. Something that's actually palatable. I give this one a thumbs up. I get it again. I think it would be better in a 6-pack of regular sized cans rather than single tall cans. Just me. This is a sessionable beer, and I don't think the packaging, the presentation is right. It should be sold in 6-pack small cans.
Cool. And Locke, welcome to the show. What are you drinking this evening, sir?
So this evening, I have High Tide by Whitewater Brewing Company. 6.9% alcohol, 10, which sounds low to me, 10 international beer units.
And what kind of beer is it?
Well, so this is a NEPA. I guess it's a Northeast IPA. A Northeast IPA is what I'm assuming that is.
So that's a really low IBU rating for any kind of an IPA.
Which only reaffirms my suspicion that the West Coast style, which is all about bitterness ratings, like the East Coast has gone towards fruit punch. But we'll see what it's like. Maybe it's good. Like a tide meeting the shore, High Tide will crash down on your palate with a tropical aroma and flavor. The soft, pillowy texture of a New England IPA and distinct, juicy flavor of Galaxy hops will keep pulling you back to this beer like the moon to the tides, or washing you out to sea if you're not wild about fruit punch. Well, let's give it a try. Let's find out what it's like. Just so you know, ingredients include oats. So they are playing around with oats. They're also including wheat. So barley, oats, and wheat. This is a full-on
Where's that coming from?
His alarm's going off.
Who's the sneak with the harmonica? Come on.
I wish. I have no idea. So what is your verdict on this fruit punch you're drinking?
I'm liking it better than I was expecting to. And I'll tell you why.
Wow, that's high praise.
In spite of the low IBU, there's a faint aftertaste of pine.
Oh.
I wasn't expecting that.
Okay.
I still think it's sweeter than I'd like, but the pine note at the end of it actually prevents it from being, a drink for, adolescents that only like fruit punch.
It looks really good, Locke.
Yeah, I mean it's got the classic haze going on there.
Yeah,
so, it picks up the lights in a way that's sort of like, a sort of a saturated, sort of sunny color there.
it looks like a lemon meringue pie in a glass.
It does a bit, and if that's what it tasted like, I'd be complaining right now. Yeah, no. This is better than expected. I have to say I was all getting ready to to say, "Oh Lord, this is this is the end of brewing," and it's all
The end of brewing.
it's all going downhill. It's the world's in crisis mode, and the response is a crisis beer. No, this is actually something that I could drink if I bought this again. It wouldn't be by mistake. That's an if, but yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. And Dave, of course, what are you consuming this particular evening?
I'm doing.
You're
that
back to the peace
green
tea.
tea.
There
That's
you go.
just what I had.
You gotta suck down that sugar that's in that can. So
Yeah. Yeah, holy shit. Talking about, okay, so before the show started, the three of us were kind of chatting about weight and exercise and calories and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And just for shits and giggles, this badass here contains 160 frickin' calories in it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a little mental. Whatever.
What are the calories coming from?
Oh, geez. Probably just a sugar, dude. Hang on.
I'm just curious. Like, is it a lot of sugar in it? That kind of thing.
Well, I'll look at the ingredients.
Can you run a spectral analysis on that and have it back to us
Yes,
by
please.
the end of the show?
Can you say to me what kind of drink it is, just so that
It's okay. So this is a peace tea, Lock. It's a green. This is their green tea.
Ah, yes.
It actually got caffeine, so this is like the shittiest choice I could have made for tonight. But whatever. So it's claiming 22 milligrams per 695. So there's 22 milligrams of caffeine in this.
Okay.
So what do we got here? It's got tea, filtered water, brewed tea concentrate, cane sugar. So there you go. Citric acid, natural flavor, sucralose. Yeah, that's the last ingredient. I mean,
That's weird that it has sucralose and cane sugar in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Sucralose supposed to be a
Well,
sweetener?
I think cane sugar is mild as far as sugars go. Like, it doesn't have the punch that the refined white shit does.
Okay.
So, I'm guessing.
It's like, we gotta get that in there. We gotta, we gotta get that. Let's make them feel like they're getting more.
Yeah. So I don't know. And hey, I'm glad that it's just an afterthought and they're using cane sugar for most of it. My guess, though, dude, is that that's where it's mostly coming from. But my God, there must be a shit ton of sugar in here to get that kind of level of
just for comparison.
calories.
Just for comparison, and I really don't know the answer to this. So you said how many calories are in that, Dave?
160
160 in the whole can.
in the
Okay,
can.
and that's a pretty big can. I mean,
Yeah, this is, I think, the same as what you've got. It's 695.
no. This is 473.
Oh, geez. Okay.
But I wonder how many calories there are in.
Sorry, did you say 470 calories in your slugger there?
No. This is 473 mils
Oh,
compared to his 600 and something mils.
do you
Well,
know?
the average beer, depending on how much you have, is something like 150 calories. I mean, it varies depending on the style of beer. Like if it's a stout, it's way more. But I remember reading that it's roughly about 150 to 200 calories.
Earlier today,
But again, it depends on the amount. Like if you have a full pint, it's going to be more than a can.
Obviously, yeah.
Earlier today, one of the options I went with the whitewater instead. I was looking for things I hadn't tried. One of the things I passed up, and I'll tell you why in a moment, was a 355 milliliter can of what was described on the tin as Mexican lager. And also on the tray that it was on, it was advertised as being 100 calories. So 100 calories for a 355 milliliter can, and that was an advertising point to those guys. So that gives you an idea.
Wow, that's impressive.
Phillips is actually marketing low-cal beer right now, where I think it's like 90 calories for a 355 ml can.
Wow.
I've been kind of curious to try it. I'm just out of curiosity. I don't think I'd like it necessarily, but
Right.
and actually I don't need to cut calories. I need to find ways to add calories. So
Oh, sorry, you're trying to add calories?
I need to add calories, yes.
Why do you need to add calories?
Because I don't bring in enough
Really?
every day. Really?
I wish I had that problem. Maybe it's I like dinner too much, but anyway, just to finish off what I was saying earlier, that Mexican lager was by Ace Hill, and the reason I didn't buy it, just so we're clear on the point, is if it was really a Mexican lager, the word is not lager. The word is cerveza.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true.
It is true. I was going to say, like, I would expect them to use the word cerveza. Unless it's a legal
Hey, Dave.
thing.
No, it's not like
sorry.
No. Okay.
So, Dave, you're getting 79% of your added sugars for the day. So, there you go. In that one can.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me.
Hello,
the caffeine.
diabetes.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Yeah, PC
What
is
shocks
not
me
a
the
healthy
frickin'
choice.
Caffeine. 22
Yeah, well,
milligrams.
it probably has real tea in it, maybe.
Well, it does. What does it say here? It did say something about tea in there, right? So, and it's green, which I'm not really supposed to be drinking, but I figured the sugar.
Sorry, wait.
Balanced.
Well, actually, a green tea is actually quite high in caffeine.
Brew
So,
tea concentrate. Yeah, it doesn't tell you what. You can only make the assumption it's green based on the can, but they're not actually telling you what they've used.
it's actually green tea. It could be like, I don't know, we're just throwing some more sugar and that orange pico will taste green.
We stewed some dandelions and we called it
Exactly.
It's actually sort of interesting the way, like, unless you sort of become a sort of a beverage, spotter or enthusiast or whatever it is that we are. When people get into coffee or tea culture, one of the first things that you find out is that the stronger flavor does not mean more caffeine. Typically, it's the reverse. If it's got a stronger flavor, usually that's because it's being roasted more or treated more or stewed more. And what that does is that actually reduces the amount of caffeine in the original plant. It's the plant that produces the caffeine. The flavor often comes from the processing of the plant.
Yeah. Yeah, I found that. Yeah, my brother is a bit of a coffee guy and like roasts his own stuff, and so he actually was the guy that first mentioned to me that this, as you just said, Locke, it's the flavor. Yes, it's more pronounced when you go darker roast, and like you said, that basically bakes the caffeine out. So if you're looking for a lower caffeine drink, then go darker. But yeah, it's apparently just getting off into coffee territory. Apparently, the other thing with the darker roast is supposedly that's the lower quality beans.
It can be, not always.
Right.
What is that bean that is eaten by cats and crapped out by the cat? What is that beer called? Or that that coffee called?
Is it cats? I thought it was like bats or something.
The disturbing secret behind the world's most expensive coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Just gonna bring this article up here for you because this is always fascinating me.
I remember hearing about this. I was mortified. I'm glad I don't drink this coffee.
So this is an expensive coffee, where the basically, so here's the photo. You've got cats that are in cages eating these berries, essentially, and then they eat the berries. Captive civets, I guess that is a type of cat. But yeah, so they eat the thing and then they poop it out and then they collect the oh, piss off, really, get out of here. I already subscribed to you. So they poop it out and then they roast the beans after that, and it's a very expensive coffee.
Is there
It's
like a cleaning
$50 a
process?
pound or something?
Is
I
there a
would
cleaning?
imagine so.
Or they
So
just huck the turds in the thing.
right into the grinder. I'm just curious: is there any equivalent for beer? Like, is there a beer out there that has a very strange sort of, I don't know, process? Like,
okay, so
yeah, so this
we
beer,
have
the hops are all digested by cows, and then we reach into the cow and pull it out. And
we've talked about some beers where they've used yeast strains that were from like human sources and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't.
The-
but I think
the
those are
vagina beer.
more. Yeah. But those are just kind of like marketing ploys, that kind of thing. Nothing. I'm not aware of anything where there's classic brewing methods that involved something along those lines. Unless Locke knows.
I mean, like there's the wild yeasts are a thing. That's where beer originated from, was people using. I don't think originally people added yeast. They didn't know about adding yeast. It's just that yeast is one of those things that exists in the world, and when you leave stuff out, yeast gets into it, and the yeast does its thing. So wild yeast strains, people, like Dogfish Head. They have played around with wild yeasts a bit, trying to replicate ancient brewing techniques. But that's about as exotic as I know about.
But there's no thing where, say, like ox goes and eats barley and then craps it out, and then we collect the crap and brew with the crap.
No. I think oxen are better at digesting barley than civet cats are digesting coffee seed.
Well,
and what the civet cats would be digesting would be the berry, leaving the seed, probably relatively unaltered. What the chemistry that goes on inside the civet's belly does to the seed, I don't know. And but I it's not unique in world cuisine for these kinds of things to go on. Like, in boar hunts in ancient Japan, one of the delicacies used to be finding boar that had been feasting on turnips. I think it was turnips. Is it turnips? I think it's turnips. And after you kill the boar, the upper intestine, the lower intestine, probably a little gross, but the upper intestine has freshly digested turnips in it. So you tie up the intestine, and it's an automatic turnip sausage. You wonder how the first sausage came into being? Was it a little bit that way? When people talk about how the sausage is made?
I never ever want to know.
Now, Scott, has anybody else here had a haggis?
No.
I have never.
Yes, yeah, I've had plenty of haggis in my life, and I've got to say it's delightful. I love haggis, and deep fried with chips, as you get in Glasgow, with your obligatory deep fried Mars bar. Well, I only recommend that in winter because otherwise it's just a little bit gross. But yeah, I mean, you wonder where did this idea come from? Of filling intestines full of stuff and then roasting that.
Somebody was bored one day and was like, "I'm hungry."
Charlie Baker's cooking Johnsonville brats.
Exactly. So I did a quick search, and there are some beers out there that is that they do use various things to create their brews. One is Ant Brews Brewing, which is a Finnish brewery that makes beer from repurposed dairy product. I don't even want to know what that means. and rejected breakfast cereals. So they take breakfast cereals that have expired and then brew them into a variety of different stouts, I gather.
That's interesting.
Like Cocoa Pops, Corn Flakes, Lucky Charms,
When you
etc.
originally said rejected, I had another image in mind, but thankfully,
Yeah,
that's
and they, yeah, exactly. I did go there earlier. But anyway, basically, they call it their wasted series. So, I mean, these are products that grocery stores throw out because they have to because of expired food.
yeah. No, look, the whole
So there you go.
the whole dumpster cuisine thing is becoming
Yeah.
surprisingly mainstream.
Well,
It
it's
is,
because
and
a
I
lot
mean,
of these
you know-
expiry dates are complete BS.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Although my favorite one is a brewery. There's two. There's I don't know what it is about the Finns, but there's another Finnish brewery that I could not find the name of, but they use goose droppings in order to get, what is it? The poop is used in a food safe way to smoke malt to create a unique stout beer. The goose droppings are gathered from local parks where geese are causing a messy problem. Now the local parks get cleaner, and the special edition summer beverages are perfect for the picnic in the park. So there you go. That's just horrible. But aside from that, the other one is a beer called the Moby Dick Ambergris Ale, which is from an Australian brewery that basically collects whale crap in order to make certain brews. So there you go. So
Okay.
there are definitely beers out there that we have not yet tried.
Hmm.
I wonder if whale crap floats.
From what I understand, it does not.
Yeah.
Mainly because the diet of the average whale is primarily protein, not fat.
Ah.
So
Hmm.
I'll never forget the episode of House where this guy comes in and his girlfriend is there, who's like you find out is a hardcore vegan. And he's there because his poop is floating. And that's not right for a vegan. So there you go. Turns out he was going out to McDonald's in the middle of the night. But there you go.
Nice.
So apparently, the healthier you are, your poop will sink. So congratulations. That is knowledge you would never learn anywhere else except on this show, The Crafty Boys. Oh my god. I did look up these breweries, but of course I could really only find these Finnish ones. The Australian one I can't seem to locate anywhere. But essentially, these two Finnish breweries, the one that uses bird poop and the other one takes breakfast cereal and makes them into beer. I'm actually kind of curious if we could actually find some of these beers or import them into the country, because I'd be very curious to know.
I would imagine these are very limited edition and probably only available
I would suspect so. Yes.
locally.
You never know. I'm very, very curious.
I wonder what Canada's trade restrictions look like internationally, because interprovincially we all know that they're very onerous. What would it take to import something like that?
Money, power,
Well,
income
man,
inequality.
it's fine if you go to obviously Shane and Luck, you guys don't have them, but you know of them, the Cascadias, right? They don't carry a huge selection, but if you go to the wall, you will see some international stuff sitting there.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a ton, but definitely a few things out of Europe. It seems like England, Belgium, would you say, Alan?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking with the augmented ingredients list. I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you remember the furor over Saskatoon berries, but Saskatoon berries were a controlled substance in the EU for a while.
What?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't know what they were. They needed to be tested to make sure they were safe.
Well, that'd be a party at the border. We have to make sure this import is safe.
Oh man.
What's a Saskatoon
Dude,
berry?
You know what though?
Actually,
In some ways, it's I get respect for some of what the EU does in terms of like food safety and stuff.
I think you'll find. I think you'll find that European blueberry growers were behind that initiative. But
Yeah.
it would
Well,
not surprise
hey.
me.
Yeah.
Hey, we actually have our very own Saskatoon berry bush growing in our garden.
but
That is still going to be probably a couple of years away from actually sprouting berries, but it's been planted. It's been about a year now, so
Cool.
hopefully it'll explode soon. I was looking to see about how you could actually import beer from different countries. And apparently we have to go through a particular importer that specializes in these countries, beer specifically made from malt. So yeah,
now is that federal or is that provincial?
that were the feds.
Okay.
So I imagine there's probably some provincial rules as well, but I hope not, to be honest. But yeah. I'm sure there's other ways to do it. I'm sure you could probably find somebody to export it. I would not be surprised if you could find a local in somewhere near the brewery that you could be like, I will pay you $100 Canadian to put that in, get me a 6-pack, stick it in a box, and send it to Canada. It's not illegal to do that, as far as I'm aware. I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to drink it. So
Remember how
I'm
I was
sure there's
talking
ways to-
before about us doing like a beer club, like a beer of the month club kind of deal?
Yeah.
I've been seeing those things pop up all over the place, advertised like on Facebook and stuff like that. Here in BC, even. I'm not too sure how they're doing it. Getting around to like all the delivery and everything, and getting ID and all that, but apparently it's happening.
Huh.
Well, now let me point out. Dial-A-Bottle works in Ontario, so is there a Dial-A-Bottle BC? Because this would basically be, I mean, in terms of licensing, if you were to set something like that up, it'd be like Dial-A-Bottle. Only it's Dial-A-Bottle. Only instead of you go online and you select from the menu as to what you want to order. Here, you don't need to take that step. You just wait and find out what they bring you because it's curated, right?
Oh, I see.
Well, I'm
Okay.
looking up Dial-A-Bottle, and it is available in Burnaby, Vancouver, and Victoria. So there you go. I mean, these, and of course, they're all over Ontario, and one in Calgary, and one in Alberta, and one in Montreal. So, but apparently, my favorite, right next to it, weed delivery, is coming to Dial-A-Bottle. They are branding it dialadoob.com. So apparently they're not running yet, but they are. It is on the way. Because they are just waiting for. It looks like they're waiting for the whole law thing to change in Ontario, where you can buy weed from the LCBO. So there you go. So Ontario will be dialadoob.com.
We're totally doing it eventually, man.
I gotta say that this whole legalization of marijuana is apparently exploding now in the States. Have you been following this news at all? Where
okay. I think this was an explosion that had happened some time ago.
But only in certain states.
Exactly.
This is where the chain, yeah. So which was only like what, 6 states or something like that?
Oh no, it was more than 6 states. When I was at school in Oregon, of course, Oregon had
Oregon
one
was
of
the
the six, right?
first.
sorry,
Wasn't
Oregon.
it the first?
I don't think it was. I think it was California. I don't know. They're both.
I thought it was Colorado.
They've both states have legalized. I think as far back as about a decade ago. More than a decade ago now, because it was a decade ago when I was in Portland. So
I thought it was legalized for medicinal.
no, recreational purposes in Oregon.
Oh.
I think in California as well.
So
Okay.
it doesn't say here when, but here are the states where it is legal up to 1 ounce. Or in Alaska, you can have up to 12 plants in your household. So Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, weird, Illinois, because Illinois, Maine.
Yeah. That's all. A, maritime, and B, old school college towns.
Maine, Michigan, Massachusetts, Montana, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York State, Oregon. I don't know why I said state there. Oregon, and Vermont, and Virginia. Because I remember for a while there was a lot of people moved to places like Vermont just because they wanted to access legal weed because, for whatever medical reason they had at the time. I'm assuming recreational as well. But it surprises me. So,
Well, I think
but of course,
rents are
Texas,
cheap there,
Idaho.
too. I think in Vermont, rent is cheap there too. I think it's only like $10 a stay or something. That's a monopoly.
Oh, here we go. I found the legalization dates. So the first one to legalize was Washington State in 2012, followed by Colorado, then Alaska in 2015, Washington, D.C. in 2015, Oregon in 2015, California 2016, Massachusetts 2016.
Well, that's
So,
a
yeah.
shocker. That's totally a shocker. You would have seen
Virginia
California
and
before.
Connecticut. So Virginia, Connecticut, New Mexico, New York, New Jersey, Montana, all legalized this year.
Oh.
And like since January 1st. The more recent ones are Arizona, Illinois last year, Guam in 2019. And sorry, I never consider Guam as a state. Oh, they're listing. Sorry, these are listed as jurisdictions, not necessarily states.
Yeah.
So Michigan, Vermont were 2018. So, but of course, it's still illegal in like Tennessee, Texas.
Well, but more
Carolina,
to the point, it's still illegal federally, and that's the critical when you're crossing borders. So legal in BC, legal in Washington. Traveling between BC and Washington, even though neighbor state to the south of Washington and neighbor state to the south of that are all on board, you still can't cross that border with weed because that's bad, right? Or at least it's illegal.
That's true. Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah. So, and one of the things that I find sort of cool and interesting about all of this. And this is just, me dorking out over the fact that I've gone in the legal direction in terms of career path, is what it says about the nature of how laws evolve and change. And that is to say that they don't always do it regularly or on the basis of any kind of common sense. There's no way to rationally expect one thing or another out of what the law is going to do. But over time, there's an accrual of opinion that will sway things one way or another.
But okay, let's.
It's not necessarily a democratic one. It's just one on the basis of the settling of disputes, according to what the best settlement of the dispute is, and what the record is in terms of how we've settled these kinds of disputes.
So let's assume for a second that the U.S. government federally legalized it. Okay. Would you even in that case be able to take it across the border?
Oh, sure,
because Well, could you? Because I mean, you have to declare, like, say, fruits or meats or whatever you take across the border.
Sure. They might still choose to regulate over other issues. Like, we don't want you bringing our weed in here because we think your weed might have cooties that are going to spoil our weed. But that's a way different kind of argument than the war against drugs, for example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good point too, because you can't take veggies and fruits, right? In some cases,
No.
I think particularly California, isn't that really regulated? Because if I remember right, I went down years ago as a kid, and I'm pretty sure that we had to make sure we didn't have any fruits or veggies because California was very restricted in what it would allow inside their borders.
But you got to understand, that's not because they're scared that Canada is going to out-import their own producers. That's not what's going on there.
No, this is internal.
No. That's an agricultural concern over parasites and fungi and the sort of things that attack crops, right? But that's different than the economic argument of you're underselling our producers, which is one reason why you might do that. Or we find the consumption of alcohol morally intolerable, which is what the U.S. was doing in the 1920s, which is why the Canadians swooped in and
here you go.
mad as much as we could. Thank you, Seagram.
I see. Shane, are you awake?
Yeah. Who are you guys again? No, I was just reading a little bit more about how different states are addressing the whole legalization and the differences between what they mean by legalization with either being recreational or versus medical. Bulk of them, it's legal, but only for medical use. You can't use it for recreational. So I don't know. We'll all eventually get there. We'll be all like on our little rocking chairs on our stoops, yelling at kids to get off our lawn while we're smoking 17-inch doobies. Go for that lawn. I don't know. I have a picture of all four of us drinking beer, smoking huge doobies, and doing some sort of weird telepathic, chips implanted in the side of our head podcast where it's being broadcast all over the internet, and we don't actually say anything. It's all happening within our heads. I
was just imagining a whole new context for "Stay Off the Grass."
Get off our manicured lawn. COVID news this week, of course, we have a lot more of it. Ontario is on fire again, apparently, and I think Locke, can you brush that COVID off your shoulder there? I'm seeing it crawl towards your face. But the hot spot in our province, aside from the wildfires, is Kelowna. Apparently, Kelowna has a major outbreak, and they interviewed a bunch of people on the news today, and there are some real douchebags that live there. I gotta say. There was 2 or 3 people going, oh, yeah, well, no, we're still wearing our masks. The mask mandate's back on. But, we're wearing them anyway because we feel like we were protecting people, blah, blah, blah. And then there was this one other guy who's this buff dude on the beach. He's like, I don't think, the government should, be involved, telling us what to do, man. It was so weird. And you just want to set them on fire.
How many of you have driven to Kelowna?
I have.
Not for a while.
Okay,
I did about I want to say, was it 3-4 years ago?
Okay,
something like that. Yeah.
So tell us about Kelowna. If you were driving to Kelowna, where would you drive? If you're driving to, nobody drives through Kelowna. You either drive to Kelowna.
Well, actually, I did drive through it. I was going to Penticton.
Oh, you were going to Penticton. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Penticton. I consider Penticton to be fairly close to Kelowna. I mean, marginally. It was within a couple hours. I loved Penticton.
Mm.
Penticton was like the cat's pajamas. And granted, it was summer. Like, I may have a different opinion of Penticton in the winter, but in the summer, it was a pretty smoking awesome place. I have to say.
And why was that?
Small town vibe with like big town features, a laid back attitude, awesome water, and breweries.
Big town features? I'm not. What is a big town feature? I'm just curious.
It has like all the amenities that you would expect from like a big city, but it's like a small town.
Right.
So it's basically like Ireland.
Maybe.
No, that's not a criticism. That's high praise.
So wineries, tons of hiking and outdoor activities to do. They have that. I don't know if you guys have ever been there before, but they have like this hillside that you can see it across the lake, and it says Penticton, kind of like Hollywood down in the Hollywood side.
Yeah.
They got one that says Penticton. You can actually hike up to the sign, which we did, and it's pretty awesome up there. And it was like everything is like really close. Like everything is like within like a 5-minute drive.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, we just passed through Kelowna. So
And
Kelowna seemed
supposed
busy.
to be the hot spot.
Huh?
Yeah, Kelowna's supposed to be where people want to be. It sounds like it's growing,
It seemed really
blood
busy.
over the last couple decades, blah, blah, blah.
I kind of got the feeling it was Vancouver
Oh.
when I was there. Like traffic jams and stuff like that.
Right.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah, I didn't like being in Kelowna, driving through it. Yeah. So
Kelowna's a cesspool. Yeah.
So out of all the new cases, like they did some statistics, it's like 80% of the new cases are unvaccinated people.
Yeah.
See, if I were living in Kelowna, I would have been one of those people that's like, yeah, nobody with COVID's ever come to Kelowna. It's fine.
Kelowna's busy. It's like a huge,
so
booming place.
Admittedly, I have not been to Kelowna in a long, long time. I should probably check it out and find out more.
I think the draw to Kelowna is that it's a small city, but not too small. Cheaper housing, at least a few years ago. And it was a bit of a draw for people who wanted to get away from Vancouver.
Yeah.
And, they could transfer to a place like Kelowna, enjoy a much better quality of life, probably pay less.
So it's sort of like to BC what Barrie is to Ontario.
Yeah, maybe, or what Airdrie is to. Yeah.
Although I've been hearing apparently Airdrie is Calgary now.
It basically is.
The sprawl is sufficient that that's probably a fair call.
So
actually, a friend of ours, Barry, Minutes. That's how I say minutes. He lives on the edge of Calgary.
Why don't you give his street address?
Does he actually?
Name, so.
Yeah, exactly. And he lives at. But he. I was actually chatting to him a couple weeks back, and he was. We were chatting, and he said that I asked him how close he lives in Airdrie. That's right. How close Airdrie was to Calgary now, And he said, "Yeah, it's pretty much you can like see Calgary. You know, it's
Yeah.
getting closer and closer every year, and the eventually, 10 years from now, maybe 20, it'll be absorbed into Calgary proper. But I don't know. It just,
The problem that Calgary has is there really aren't any natural barriers preventing sprawl. So it just sprawls and sprawls and sprawls.
Yeah.
For all that its population is negligible compared to, many other Canadian cities,
right.
its overall landmass, I think I think it might actually have more total land mass than Mexico City.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mexico City, mind you, is 30 million or so.
It was about 15 years ago. My comedy group was doing a show at a festival in Calgary, and we had actually booked a hotel in Airdrie. When I arrived in the Calgary International Airport, we went straight from the airport to the hotel in Airdrie. I didn't even know I had left Calgary.
Yeah, what was it, 20 minutes?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not even.
15, yeah. 15, 20.
Yeah, 15 minutes. And it was like, so this is like a different city? And they're like, yeah, this is a different city. And I'm like, but we never left Calgary. What are you talking about? Calgary's right there. I can see it. It's right there.
Well, it's.
I waved to Calgarians.
Same, but different.
From my hotel. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Good. We're in Calgary. I'm not.
Like on the north side, I would say probably half the neighborhoods used to be totally distinct municipalities. That's all.
The only difference between Airdrie and Calgary is that in Calgary, you've got more sort of like luxury sedans. In Airdrie, everybody drives a pickup truck. And not just a regular pickup truck. I'm talking like a heavy duty kind of, diesel thing, right? With the testicles hanging off the back.
Yeah. F-150.
Everybody in Airdrie has one.
What are they called? The truck nuts?
Yeah.
I wish I had thought of truck nuts because I can't imagine how much money that person made. Like that to me is just like the most brilliant thing ever.
You know what you could do is make like pet nuts. So it's kind of like a cross between truck nuts and the pet rock. And you just basically get truck nuts and put googly eyes on them.
Back when I was driving my old Jeep, I mean that thing used to be a trouble magnet. I used to get addressed by the cops more, I think, than if I had been driving another vehicle. But I once saw driving around Victoria a pickup truck with a mannequin's head with a gag ball in its mouth, where the truck nuts would normally be.
Oh.
Wow.
I'm assuming that was somebody from Souk, but
maybe Langford.
Well, if you're from Victoria, everyone, yeah.
I don't recall ever seeing that vehicle.
no. Yeah.
The only vehicle in Victoria I recall seeing, and Shane would remember this, was the pink flamingo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which was like an old convertible Cadillac or something, some big boat. And it was like multicolored, pink and green and purple. And it had like one of those pink flamingo lawn ornaments sticking onto the top of the hood, the trunk.
Sorry, what year was this?
It was like in the 80s.
Okay.
And I found out later that it was this guy that I used to do improv with, who's no longer with us, who was the owner of this vehicle.
Yeah, I remember that car quite well. I rode in it once many eons ago, but yeah,
Oh,
like
guys,
when he first got it.
Gen Zers would be all about that. That is like mad
Yeah.
Gen Z vibes right there.
That was Stu Palfrey that owned that car.
Yeah.
I didn't know him at the time. I knew the car. The car drove around my neighborhood all the time. Everybody knew that car. And I met Stu through improv years later. And it was many years after that I found out that he was actually the owner of Pink Flamingo. And yeah, it was such a cool guy. And unfortunately, we lost him a few years ago now.
Was Pluto's Diner? Was that the one that used to have the crazy awning downtown in Victoria? Like,
Yeah, it used to be a gas station.
yeah, it was a gas station converted into a restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's since been torn
Well,
down.
I'm imagining this vehicle pulling up to Pluto's and thinking to myself,
Totally.
That would be that would be cool. Yeah, Pluto's got torn down like 6 months ago.
oh, brutal!
But
No,
didn't the organization, the operation, did it not move?
Yeah, so Pluto's is moving to a new
good.
location, but
a new gas station. I'm hoping.
no, it's going to. You know, okay, do you guys remember Fog and Suds?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when Fog and Suds was on, was that Broughton? I think it was way back when, and it was like an old heritage building and all that, and then they slated that building for demolition. And Fog and Suds had to move, and they moved over on Wharf Street or something like that, and it just wasn't the same.
It ruined the atmosphere.
It ruined the atmosphere, and it only lasted 6 months there before it shut down. I hate to say it, but I think the same thing is going to happen.
Yeah.
I think people went to Pluto's for the atmosphere and just what it represented, right?
Yeah.
And anywhere else, it's going to be
Get
different.
that. You could kind of replicate it. I mean, I know it's not going to be the same, but hopefully the owners
Pluto's-
understand.
Yeah. Well, Pluto's apparently has moved to Quadrant Hillside. It is in the building that housed San Remo's restaurant.
Oh, on
What?
Quadra.
Weird.
Okay.
That's where it is. That's what it's being called. Yeah.
I'm upset that San Remo's isn't there because I like San Remo's, as I recall. I would have thought they would have been a better fit where the Chuck E. Cheese used to be, or was it a Chuck E. Cheese? No, it was.
Yeah, it was the Chuck E. Cheese, and then it became something else.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Chuck E. Cheese. It was Huggy Bears.
Huggy Bears, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently I'm just looking at their website, San Remo Victoria, and all it says is we are closed.
Yeah, they closed a while back.
Wow. When? How long ago?
It was several months ago, and it really San Remo went way downhill. I'll be honest with you, I never actually ate at San Remo. I've never been. But from what I heard from people, it was not the same experience as they remembered it. It was a bygone era.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, their particular December 27th end of the year wrap party for San Remo Victoria had 5 people attending. So, but apparently that's where Pluto's is. So I'm very interested to try.
That's a little bit upsetting. Does anybody here, back from 1980s restaurant businesses that are no more in Victoria, remember the Cultured Cow?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember the Culture Cow.
You used to be able to get their stuff on the ferry.
Yeah, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Remember they used to have sort of like the ice cream swirl thing that's like in the snack bar. You could get like a cup or a cone.
Oh, you mean on the ferry?
Soft serve. Yeah, on the ferry.
Yeah.
Okay. They still do that. It's horrid. At least
What?
last time I tried it. It tasted like there's bits of plastic in there.
Well,
It
it's
was
probably
just-
not cultured cow.
No,
No, I'm sure it wasn't. I'm
Yeah.
sure it wasn't.
yeah.
Because it was. Oh,
For soft serve, does anybody know if the Beacon Drive-In is still?
Oh yeah, it's still around.
Oh yeah. It's right on.
And actually, it's under new ownership. Well,
Cool.
not new. I think they've been under new ownership for a few years now.
I would imagine it's happened more than once. They've been around
But
long enough that I think.
They kind of revitalized it a bit.
Oh,
Because I remember the last time I went, which was probably about 10 years ago, I was kind of disappointed.
well,
I thought the quality had gone downhill.
that's too bad.
But then I think a guy from Calgary actually bought it and revitalized it. And apparently it's as good as ever now. So
nice. Good to know. I'll have to check that out. The last time I went, or handful of times, I only ever get the ice cream. But
yeah.
sounds like it's worth checking out for the food again.
Well, I mean, I only went for the ice cream as well. I thought the ice cream was actually going downhill. But apparently it's good again.
Back in the day, it was the best soft serve ice cream that, bar none, that I've ever had from anywhere on any occasion.
The only thing to me it was better, and I don't know if it kind of qualifies as a comparison, but like remember the chocolate malts that you used to get from like the Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah, those to me were.
No, actually, I don't know if I had that good fortune.
Did you ever go to like a mall when you were a kid and get like a chocolate malt?
Well, okay. So when I went to malls, the chocolate malt was never a thing. I remember there were a couple of places at the Hillside Mall that I have vivid memories of. One was a Mexican place, and I used to get their tostada all the time. And then the other one was a burger joint next to what I think at one point was a Zeller's and then later became something else.
Okay. I remember so chocolate malts were the thing that my parents would give me whenever they went to the mall to get me to shut up.
Okay.
Right? So every time I went to the mall, I got a chocolate malt from wherever we went. I know the Bay had one. I know that little drummer boy at Tillicum Mall sold them. I remember getting them at Mayfair and Hillside, but I don't know from who. I assume Woodward's had a malt shop in it, but I don't know about it at Hillside. But I remember getting them at Hillside. To me, it was a staple thing that you would get whenever you went to a mall.
Interesting.
You go to a mall, I get a malt. That's how it works, right?
I think they might
I
be
miss
a
that.
thing of the past. I'm just thinking of the food court at Hillside now, which is completely renovated, by the way. There's still some of their, the mainstays that have been there for years, but it's renoed. It's got some new faces in there and stuff. I don't think there's a malt shop there.
No. And when I'm thinking back to my experiences at malls, there were no food courts at those times. Food courts didn't become a thing until the 80s. I'm talking like in the 70s here.
I'm sorry, the chocolate malted stall is not part of the food court. It's a mid-mall snacking location.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I never visited any Victoria Mall in the 70s because I lived in Manitoba then.
Oh, okay. Well, I think the mid-mall sort of snack thing is like had a sign up on top. It said, "Kid won't shut up while you shop. Here, feed him this." The only thing
Oh
that
my
comes
God.
close to it now is a Frosty from Wendy's, and it ain't close.
Mm. Sounds to me like there's a business opportunity yet to be capitalized, and do pay close attention to the fact that Gen Z are very 80s and late 70s aware and friendly. We may have missed them. It may be too late. They may already be too old for malt.
Okay, well, I'll tell you this. Rogers Chocolates in Victoria opened up an old-fashioned malt shop downtown.
Okay, yeah, no, all right, yeah, I'm a believer. Yeah, look,
It did not survive.
I want to know more.
Rogers are flawless.
It lasted, I think, a year before it shut down.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe not flawless. Oh well. I have always seen Rogers moving from strength to strength.
I think I went there once. I think it was overpriced for what it was. I mean, it's right downtown. It was right next to the Rogers Chocolate shop. Their rent was probably atrocious. For what you were buying, it was really expensive. They didn't have malts there, but they had like tons of other kinds of like soda jerk kind of things. It was a really cool concept. It just it didn't have enough oomph on it to be able to survive through a winter.
Sorry, what was the walk by traffic?
Well, it was on Government Street. So, and this is before pandemic, like well before the pandemic. So lots of tourists.
But that's a problem, dude. The tourists come and they go, and boom, who have you got? Your locals who may.
That's what I'm saying. I it didn't have the staying power to survive through a winter here.
Yeah, makes sense. So what about you guys know the Marble Slab? Yeah, down it's Bay Center on one edge of it.
I still call it Eaton Center, but yeah,
Eaton Center. Yeah. Okay, so Eaton Center, whatever. Do they do malts in there?
No. At least they didn't when last time I was there, which was probably 20 years ago. But
all right.
So who here you watched the original television animated series Masters of the Universe?
I watched it quite often back in the day.
So has anybody seen the Netflix retake?
I've heard about it.
What have you heard?
Well, nothing specific. I know I'm aware of it.
You know that it exists.
Yes.
Okay. You remember at the end of the fuse that was the bomb that was the Transformers movie? And when the Transformers movie came out and all of the characters you'd grown up with suddenly got genocided? Yeah.
You're talking about the movie. Yeah, the movie.
Talking about the movie. What I'm saying is get ready. If you ever watched any He-Man, this is I don't think this is aimed at younger generations at all. I think this is entirely aimed at Generation Xers that grew up on that. Now, I'll be honest with you. I always thought He-Man was stupid. Looking at those professional wrestler-looking dumbass action figures, I never owned one, never wanted to. The fact that there was this weird anachronism thing going on between futuristic and sword and sorcery always kind of just got on my nerves. It was like, pick one, you know? So I was never especially sympathetic to it growing up. And I remember this was the first time I recognized budgetary limitations in animation on screen as a phenomena. And I recognized it as a little kid. It was, in every battle sequence, you'd see He-Man do the same roll in the same direction and then jump up and go, ha. Right? And after you've seen that like 80 times in one episode, and it happens every time there's like a fight sequence, you start to go, I wonder why that is. Anyway, this new series is it's sort of like when Mr. Dressup did that tour where he wanted to talk to everybody and just say, okay, look, so I was a children's TV figure and you were children at the time, and let's talk. So where are we all now? Like, it was that kind of a thing, with more violence and a lot more, if I'm to be fair. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird. I sort of like whoever Netflix commissioning editors are, they're like looking for some fairly brave postures on some what used to be well-established brands. Now that said, if you've ever watched that documentary series on like the toys that made us or whatever it is, yeah. If you've ever watched the He-Man one, you realize how crass and commercial the ideas were like, maybe we'll have him ride something. Well, what do we have him ride? Well, what's cheap to get? Oh, there's a figure of a cat that we can get for cheap. Okay, we'll get a cat. But we need to make it more different. So the green cat, yeah, that's it. It's a green cat. And then, it's just, it was like, let's flog this shit as much as we can. The kids are buying it. We'll sell that. They like professional wrestlers. Yes, everybody's like, bah! Right? This is such a weird moment for this is something that I expect that 150 years from now, people will be assessing the culture of the early 21st century, and they'll be looking at this and they'll be saying, do you see what happened here?
Especially when they dig up an archive of all of our recording. Yeah, there are these 4 weirdos that had this show, and I mean, one was really short, one was really tall, the other 2 were weird.
They can't tell which of us is short, though, Dave.
This is a good point.
Whew, good.
On that note, the show that you have been watching is this one, and I certainly hope. Whoops, sorry, wrong one. It was this one, and I'm so weirded out now because I can't end the show because Alan didn't bring the studio audience. So
yeah,
everyone, get ready to clap. So thank you for watching. Check us out online. We're everywhere. The Crafty Boys. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you all. Goodbye. Clap.